welcome or welcome back to my channel. Season 3 part 2 of Bridgerton will be coming out in a few days, and I thought this is the perfect time to make a video where I share with you some of my thoughts and observations while I was watching season 3 part 1. I'm gonna start from Penelope and Colin, and then I'm gonna work my way down to minor characters like Violet Bridgerton and Lady Danbury. So without talking too much, let's get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is when people tell those who watch the show on Netflix that we need to refer to the books. Case in point, when Penelope asked Colin to make out with her because she didn't want to die a spinster, a lot of people were saying, well, it's part of the book. Well, a lot of things that are in the TV show are not in the book. Shonda Rhimes was able to change so much of the Bridgerton story, and it's not the same as the books. Yes, the names are similar and the world is the same, but Shonda has been able to completely rewrite Bridgerton into what we know today. So you need to stop telling those of us that watch the TV show that we need to refer to the books. If I wanted to refer to the books, I would read the books and I wouldn't be watching the TV show. The second thing I want to talk about is season 3 should not have been split into two parts. We have been watching Bridgerton since season 1. We even got a spin-off, Queen Charlotte, and we got everything in full. And I know that this is probably not Bridgerton or Shonda's decision, or maybe it is, and that it's probably has something to do with the streaming wars and streaming companies like Netflix trying to remain as many viewers as possible, but I think it really dilutes the story because we need to see the story progress from beginning to end, and we're used to that. And I think because it's split into two parts, a lot of people are not really feeling it. A lot of people are very annoyed, and including myself, I feel like I'm missing a lot of the story because it has been split into two. Moving on to point number 3, Penelope should have never asked Colin for a kiss. The writer should have never framed it that way because it just makes her look desperate and needy. And I hate that this is the first time in the Bridgerton series where the main female lead is acting desperate. From Queen Charlotte, Daphne, none of them have ever begged the men to love them or to give them any kind of affection or attention. So why is it that Penelope has to go through that? And I know that this was specifically in the books, but not everything has to translate to TV. And considering what we know about Bridgerton and how they like to write the men, especially the Bridgerton men, this was such a letdown and a disappointment. Now, my fourth observation is about Lord Debling and Penelope, but I already made an entire video talking about their relationship and Lord Debling as a person. So if you want more about that, please go and watch it. But I'll just give a little summarized version. He's obsessed with plants, he's obsessed with nature, and he seems to be someone who is rational and practical. And he also has issues with his family, so he's very estranged from them, which makes me concerned because if he has such a bad family dynamic, why would he want to create a broken home by having a wife and kids and constantly traveling and being away from them, especially if he's so rich? He has no reason why he'd have to travel. It's people who need to make money that have to travel far, but he's just doing this as a hobby. So I think that shows how selfish he can be. And I'm gonna leave the rest of my opinions in my other video, so make sure to check that out if you're interested. Now, moving on to my fifth observation, can someone explain to me why Miss Penelope Featherington had such an immediate, intimate relationship with Colin in the carriage? No, I really mean it. I need someone to explain to me why there was such a rush for them to do that. Their relationship just basically started when they ran to the carriage together. That's the first time he's really confessed his romantic feelings towards her. Didn't she deserve a little bit more romancing? Didn't they deserve to go out some more, spend time together, have more moments of connection? I mean, I was hoping that they would at least build their relationship a little bit before they just went ham on each other. If you look at previous seasons of the female leads, they do not even go to second base unless they are married. The most they would do when they're dating is just kissing. So why did Penelope have to have her romantic story ruined by getting so intimate so quickly, especially looking at the time period? And it's also really important to note that Penelope is seen as a wallflower. That is how she's described in the trailers. That is how she is described in this universe. There is a set beauty standard, not only in the show, but in real life. And we don't get a lot of actresses and characters that look like Penelope in terms of weight. If you're not really slim or really skinny, then well, it's up to you to find other roles. Maybe go and be the comedic sidekick or be the evil villain, but we don't get a lot of Penelopes when it comes to romantic shows. So it's unfortunate that she didn't get that romancing as a wallflower that she deserved, as the woman that she is. She deserved so much better, and I'm so disappointed that of all the characters, and not that any of the other female characters deserve this, none of them do, but I just think it's unfortunate that Penelope had to have her story just so rushed and with so much of a lack of romance, especially for someone who really wanted romance in her life. My sixth observation is the whole argument coming from a lot of fans who say that we have not been paying attention to Colin and Penelope's relationship since season 1. That is why we feel like everything is rushed in season 3. I find that very funny that people say that, because the most that we have in terms of their relationship is she's in love with him and he's not in love with her, and he just sees her as a friend. And even with their friendship, I don't see how he's such a good friend to her, especially because the way that he publicly denounced her and said, I would never, ever, ever in my life court Penelope with no hesitation, I don't think that's a good friend. So excuse me and excuse those of us who feel like their relationship doesn't have a strong foundation. Yes, we've seen them make little quips and stand together and talk, and we know that they have a friendship, but even their friendship to me wasn't that deep. It just seemed like it was average. And most importantly, she's the one who liked him more. So yeah, from her point of view, they have a stronger relationship. But does he really know her as a person? And does he really care for her as more than a basic friend? Or does he just see her as someone who used to be in his life pining after him, and now it seems like she could slip away? My next observation is a proxy of this whole never ever will I court Penelope Featherington, is the fact that Colin was willing to court and people who hate Marina hate to admit that even though she was all the way in season 1, the way that Colin was passionate about her and was willing to marry her despite the fact that she had a child, she had moved away, he still found her home. He was more into her than he's ever been towards Penelope, and he's known Penelope longer. Truthfully, we all know that Penelope and Colin are endgame and they will end up together. This is their season to do so. But if this were real life, I would not suggest that Penelope marry Colin. I don't think they have a strong foundation, and I realistically don't think he likes her that much. And I can say this because I can easily compare his previous relationship to Marina and compare it to the one with Penelope and say, I don't see it. I feel like she would be settling for Colin. Even though he's her dream man, I don't think he sees her as his dream girl. And I blame the writers for arranging their situation like this, where I have to question whether they're really in love. And I've never had to question it while watching any of the Bridgerton shows. Now, moving on to my sixth observation and moving away from Colin and Penelope, where did Kate and Anthony disappear to after the first 2 episodes? They just wrote them away as they wanted to spend more time together, and they believed that Violet Bridgerton would be a better person to manage the family and the house. And I don't mind that they're not in the show. I get that it was like a guest appearance, but I wish they would have explained that they went away for work rather than just completely letting them vanish away in front of me. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Francesca and Lord Kilmartin, but I'm going to start with Francesca, who I think is absolutely adorable. I love the way that she leaves any situation, any conversation that she finds uncomfortable, and she doesn't make any adjustments. She doesn't really care or is not really bothered with the fact that she's just leaving a situation. She's not so concerned about what the men want, and she's concerned about what she wants. Do you want 8 kids? Well, that's not what she wants, so she's gonna leave. And she doesn't care whether you're a lord or where you're from, and I absolutely love that about her. I think it's a silent, empowering character, and I love her. In terms of Lord Kilmartin, I don't really feel anything for the relationship. People are saying that the two of them are on the spectrum or they're both autistic. I have no idea and I'm not going to make any assumptions. But in terms of their relationship, I feel like I need to see more. I am interested to see how it will pan out. I must say, and this is a very unpopular opinion, I know, but I thought it was so rude or pretty rude the way that he spoke to her when she came up to him in the park. So he was walking, she was walking, she saw him, she ran up to him and she started a conversation. And she made a statement that, "Oh, did you stay to talk to me?" And he said, "No, you came up to me." Now that wasn't too rude. On the scale of rudeness, it wasn't too bad. But did you see the way he just walked away from her and said, "Oh, I have to go"? She was having a conversation with you, sir. In the long run, how is that going to work? But people are saying they're on the spectrum, so I don't want to come off as judgy, especially for something I don't understand. But I want to see how their relationship progresses, and I'll leave it at that. Okay, moving on to my 10th observation. Lady Tilly Arnold and Benedict Bridgerton. I personally did not feel a spark between these two. I did not see a relationship or a connection. I feel like they just wanted Benedict to have a more profound role this season because his season is next, so I think they want to keep him fresh in our minds. But this is just not landing for me. I want to see Benedict the artist. That is the Benedict that I know, and he's charismatic, and I feel like I want to see a different side to him. I'm also noticing a pattern that a lot of the Bridgerton men are very promiscuous, and that's supposed to kind of show how desirable they are, but I'm kind of over it, and I wanted Benedict to be different, I guess, because I'm just getting fatigued that all the brothers have to have these moments of quote-unquote exploration. And yeah, I just want to see something different. I want to see him as the artistic guy that we were introduced to, who was confused about what he wanted to do and his role as a man and his goals and dreams in the time period that he's in. Moving on to number 11, Cressida. She became one of my favorite characters and a character that I fell in love with. I'm so invested in her story. I think I became more interested than any other character. I think her home life and her family dynamic and the way that she thinks is very fascinating, and I wish we could get, if not a season, a couple episodes just dedicated to her and her story. And I also have this burning question, which is, why is Cressida not being picked? She seems to fit all the beauty standards, especially for the time period and just in general. Why is she struggling and having such a hard time? She's beautiful, she has money, she's coming from a good family. Why would eligible bachelors not want to date her? And even if it's not for love, why wouldn't guys who just want to get married pick her? Why is she struggling? And Eloise had mentioned that maybe it's because she's mean or very harsh. Maybe that's why guys don't want to date her. But I don't really believe that, especially, again, looking at the time period. Women were expected to keep quiet and obey their husbands and stay home. So even if she was mean, wouldn't she just be mean to other women? Men don't really care if a woman is mean to a woman. Well, this is me making a generalization, but again, the time period. Why would a guy care if Cressida is mean to other women in a competition to win a husband? So my next opinion is, I think it's absolutely hilarious that Violet Bridgerton could possibly have a romantic relationship with Lady Danbury's brother, which is, in a funny way, a payback for Lady Danbury having a relationship with Violet Bridgerton's dad. And in regards to Lady Danbury and her love life, I don't think they will make a connection for her. I just don't see that happening because there are other characters that they probably want to focus on. But in Queen Charlotte, it pained me that she had to give up a possible loving relationship because she never wanted to be in a situation where she had to be with someone like Lord Danbury and be catering to a man her entire life. But I just wish that maybe someday soon Lady Danbury gets some kind of romantic love in her life. And now the last thing I want to talk about is Portia Featherington. I've been holding on to this art that I found online and I've been dying to use it in a video. I think I'm one of the biggest Portia fans because I don't know. I really understand her. I understand her situation. I understand her frustration. And I understand that she's doing so much not only for her daughters, but she's just trying to survive in a world where she's not allowed to work. She can't earn any money of her own. So I really sympathize with her character. I got a little bit annoyed with Penelope when she fought with her mom and she said, "You don't understand me." It's like, Penelope, you should understand the world that you're living in too. You should really try to understand your mom. She loves you, and I'm sure you know that, but she's also doing her best. And also, Penelope is working. She earns an income. She knew that her family was struggling, and not once did she confide in her mom that, hey, I have money. Maybe we can use it, or maybe you can relax a little bit and I can maybe take care of you. That would be nice for Penelope to do that. And with that being said, this does bring me to the end of my video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers and I'm almost there. And thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in my next video.